Hello, welcome to session 18. Thank you all for still being there and hopefully keeping yourselves fit, healthy, mobile and strong, and helping me to do that because I'm having to do this every week. Anyway, let's just start off with that posture check. Back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels up against the imaginary wall. Open the chest, like fingertips down, seam of trouser leg. Tailbone pointing down, pressing the tummy button into the backbone, pulling up into the rib cage. Pelvic floor lifting. Open up the hips, buttocks engaging, knees rolling out slightly, encouraging the arch of the foot, and then spreading out the toes. Weight even between the little toe, the big toe, and the heels. And then, of course, breathing, Pilates breathing, full and wide into that rib cage. And then from there, just start off nice and easy with a shoulder roll. Forward, up and round and back and down, get those shoulders moving. Nice big shoulder roll, maybe one shoulder roll on an in-breath, one shoulder roll on an out-breath. Back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels, of course, up against the imaginary wall. And then adding onto that, shoulders back and down, into a squat and push up tall. Knees going straight forward over the toes, take the hips back and down. Make sure all the weight goes into the heels, knees go straight forward over the toes, while holding onto that orange. Keeping the shoulders, hips, knees and ankles aligned. And then going back to the beginning and then doing a big shoulder roll and then straight into the squat. Hold that there. Then drop the head, drop the arms. Hold that there briefly. Straighten the legs, but not so they're completely straight. Slight bend in the knee. Keep the head down, the arms dangling, engaging the tummy and slowly come up. Link by link, up against that imaginary wall. So you start off with the shoulder roll. Go straight into squat and hold. Keep the shoulders down, chest up. Then you drop the head and drop the arms. Push the hips up, keeping the knees soft. And keeping that tummy button pulled up and in, support your back. Slowly come up. All the way up, shoulders back and down at the top. And again, big shoulder roll, warming up the shoulders. Squat, warming up hips, knees, thighs, buttocks. Drop the head, drop the arms, have a little dangle. Push the hips up and then slowly come up, getting flexibility into your spine. And then again, just roll the shoulders round into the squat and hold. Drop the head, drop the arms, push the hips up, and then slowly come up. Just let your breathing flow as you come up. Hold that there, reaching the arms forward. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and release. So just pulling the shoulder blades back, pull the shoulders back, and the arms will just come with it. Working that posture muscle across the upper back, just squeeze back, keeping the arms straight out, level with the shoulders. Everything else stable. Just pull those shoulder blades together as tightly as you can. And then release the arms and then come back to the shoulder roll. And the squat and hold. Drop the head, drop the arms, push the hips up. And then you slowly come up, all the way up. Hold that there. Floating the arms forward and squeeze back and release. Now bring the hands into prayer position, glue the thumbs into the chest. Keep the hips pointing forward, nose in line with the sternum, and just twist the upper body as you exhale and inhale to bring it back. Exhale to twist and inhale to bring it back. Nothing moving below the waist. Make sure those knees aren't moving, the hips aren't moving. So you just twist as far as you can while keeping everything below the waist stuck in that concrete block. Twist and center, getting flexibility into your spine. And then bring it back to start position, bringing the arms down, go back to the shoulder roll. And follow that up with the squat. Drop the head, drop the arms. Push the hips up, keep the knees soft, slowly roll up. And shoulders back and down, reaching forward, and then squeeze back, release, bring the hands into prayer, Looking over fingertips, just twist to one side, bring it back to center, twist to the other side, bring it back to center, and then floating the arms up by the ears, and do a big bend to your right side. Try not to twist that left shoulder forward, keep it back, and then back to center, lengthen up, take it over to the other side, reaching across, pressing that right foot into the floor. Bring it back to center. Now if that's not comfortable, just bring the arms back down by your side, and then bend while sliding the hand down the same of the trouser leg, and then take it the other way. So you're still not twisting your body, but if you can, arms up, always by the ears, reach across, pressing that left foot into the floor, lengthen up, take it over, reach across to where the ceiling meets the wall, and maybe one more time either side. Again, just encouraging flexibility into your spine. Reaching up to keep the shoulders themselves down, and then bring it back to center, bringing the arms back down, and then back to your start position, and roll those shoulders around again into the squat and hold. Drop the head, have a little dangle, push the hips up, slowly come up, link by link, bone by bone, shoulders back and down, reaching forward, pull those shoulder blades together, shoulders stay back and down, release, bringing the hands into prayer, looking over the fingertips, you twist to the right side, bring it back to center, exhale, twist to the left side, bring it back to center. Float the arms up, or just leave them down by your side if you need to. Big bend to that right side. Stretch across, lengthening up, and then take it to the other side. Reach. Bring it back to center. Now add a knee lift. Pull down with the arms. Reach up and pull down. Now if that's too much for the balance, just lift the heel and put it down, and then the other heel and put it down. If it's too much with the arms over your head, you could always just reach forward and bring it back down. Reach forward, bring it back down. But if you can, you're reaching up and you're pulling down, stretching up and pulling down. Really working into the hip flexor, and of course low bearing for that standing leg, and getting flexibility into the shoulders. Switching on those core muscles to balance. Stretch and pull. And then bring the arms back down by your side, and then back to the beginning. Shoulder rolls, getting all these joints warmed up. And sit and hold. Drop the head, drop the arms. Push back with the knees. Slowly come up. Allow the shoulders to relax back and down. Reaching forward, now squeezing those shoulder blades back. Release, bringing the hands into prayer. Looking over the fingertips and twist. And center. Remember, nothing moving at all below the waist. Bring it back. Sweeping the arms round if you can, over the head. If not, just down by your side. Reach and center. And reach and center. Then you add your knee lift or just the heel raise. And then just relax and take the feet out nice and wide. Turn out the knees, turn out the toes. Do a deep squat and push up. Taking the hips back and down, nice and deep. Remember, if that bothers your knees, you can always stay with the narrow squat if you need to. And just don't go down quite so far. And see if you can add on to that. Do a little sit. Lift one heel, put it down. Other heel, put it down. And push up tall. So you're doing a deep squat, keeping the chest lifted. Try not to lean forward. Those thighs working, getting flexibility into your ankles. Making your calf muscles work. Just lift and lower. And of course you can bring the feet back into alignment and do the alternate heel raises standing up with the legs together if you need to. Otherwise, you could maybe just lift that challenge up a little bit and lift both the heels, put them down. Lift both the heels, put them down. Just lift and lower. Hold it there. that's too much, you stand up, bring the legs together and do the heel raise from there. Maybe you could hold up and just balance. Keep the hips down low. Feel those thighs work, calf muscles working, core muscles to balance. And then putting the heels down and walk the feet back in. And then shoulders back and down, lengthening up again. Then from there, just turn the head and look all the way over that right shoulder. Slowly bring the head back to centre and look over that left shoulder, keeping the chin down. And again, bring it back to centre and just engaging your core, keeping everything stable, getting some flexibility into the neck. One more time either side, just a twist and centre, twist and centre. And then from here, if you just want to go to the back of your mat, standing on the back of your mat, keep up against that imaginary wall, opening the chest, and then do that big shoulder roll. And squat, take the hips back and down, drop the head, drop the arms, and push the hips up. Hold that there. And then keeping the head down, bend the knees a little bit, and then walk out, if you can, into a full plank. Hold that there. If you're not happy with the full plank, just go onto your hands and knees. Tuck the toes under, push your bottom up, and walk through the feet. So pushing back, stretching the calves. Now, if that is not comfortable, just stay standing and press the heel down into the floor. Obviously, one stretch on each side. If you can, you're in your plank, you push up and you walk through the feet. And then you've had a good stretch through those calf muscles. Then just bring it back to full plank. You just stay standing if the plank is no good, and just continue to stretch through the calves. And then if you can, a bit of a challenge here for you, you put one elbow down, the other elbow down, hold it there, and then slide one hand back in, other hand back in, relax the knees and walk back up. Of course, if that was too much, you don't need to do that. But then if you on the hands and knees, you just walk the hands into the knees and do the lovely roll back up, getting lots of flexibility into your spine. And then again, do that big shoulder roll and the squat. Drop the head, drop the arms, get a bit of a stretch through the backs of the legs, and then bend the knees a little bit and walk out onto the hands and knees. If you are not happy on your hands and knees, you could do sitting, and I'll give you an alternative to do. Otherwise, you're going to arch the back, drop the head, tuck the pelvis under, and then put a dip. So maybe exhale up, inhale, hold, exhale, dip, inhale, hold. Keeping the peach underneath the chin, between the chin and the chest. If you're sitting, what you could do is do a bend and an arch. So a curve and an arch. You could do that instead. Just getting lots of flexibility into your spine. Then when you've done a few of those ones, just flatten the back off, tuck the pelvis under, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, peach underneath the chin. And if you're not happy on your hands and knees, I will give you an alternative in a second. Just pick that right hand up, elbow pointing out to the side. And all you do is twist from your middle and take that right elbow towards the opposite hand while keeping a cup of tea on the back of your pelvis. See if you can do 5 on one side, 5 on the other. If you want to sit, you can sit with the legs crossed, straight or bent. And you would just sit up and do exactly the same thing. The rotation. 5, 7 or 10. You can decide. But on the hands and knees, you've probably got to your other side now. And just twist and bring it back. So you decide whether you're doing your 5, 7 or 10. just to work into the middle, keeping that cup of tea on the back of the pelvis. And then you're going to change sides. So picking that right hand up, this time you're going to slide the left foot out and bring it back. Slide out as you exhale, inhale, bring it back. Now if you're lying on your front, no you're not, you're sitting, but then you would go to lying on your front and bring the hands underneath the forehead and extend the legs and just do 5, 7 or 10 leg lifts on one side, 5, 7 or 10 leg lifts on the other side. If you're on your hands and knees, you're doing this 5, 7 or 10 times on each side, keeping that cup of tea still, the peach underneath the chin. And if you're lying on your front, you're keeping your cup of tea on the back of your pelvis just the same while you do your little leg lift. So when you've done your equal numbers on both sides, just sit back onto the heels, let the forehead rest down. Take those arms behind you, lift the arms and rotate the wrists. If that is not comfortable, sit on your bottom, swing your legs round in front of you, put that big beach ball on your lap and rotate the wrists. Tuck the bottom underneath that beach ball so you get a good stretch in the lower back and the buttocks as well. And then coming back up onto the hands and knees, see if you can add a lift onto this. So you would slide the leg out and twist and bring it back. Slide out, flex the foot, imprint the sole of the foot onto the wall behind. Still got that cup of tea still. Now again, 5, 7 or 10. If you're lying on your front, see if you can add a bit of waist whittling by doing hip hitch, leg lift. Hip hitch, leg lift. Again, 5, 7 or 10. You can decide. If you're on your hands and knees, you would of course do one side and then swap to the other side. Imprint the sole of the foot onto that wall behind you while keeping that cup of tea still. Don't forget your peach underneath your chin and try to keep that pelvis as stable as you can. When you've completed 5, 7 or 10 on each side, whichever one you're doing, on your front or on your hands and knees again, you sit back on the heels, let the forehead rest down. You take the arms behind you, palms up, and rotate the wrists. Or you can sit on your bottom, swing your legs round in front of you, reach over the beach ball for your toes, and rotate those wrists, whichever is more comfortable. And then if you just want to roll out onto your front and then on to your right side. Just let the head rest on that right arm, maybe take it back a little bit, then you've got a nice straight line from the fingertips to the back of the head, to the shoulder blades, to the buttocks and the heels. Remember, you can always put your cushion in between your ear and your arm, or you could rest the arm forward if that's better for the shoulder and put a couple of cushions under the head, if that is more comfortable. And then rolling that top hip slightly forward, balancing cup of tea on the outside of the hip, try and engage around the middle, get a little bit of a gap between the waist and the mat. And keeping nice and long, shoulders, hips, knees and ankles are stacked. And maybe have the hand in front to start with. And just hover that top leg about hip height and then do a little kick forward. Challenging your balance, keeping that cup of tea on the outside of the hip. Maybe exhale to kick forward and inhale to bring it back. Keeping everything else stable, neck relaxed while you do that. And when you get going, see if you could challenge yourself with the position of that top hand. So you could take the hand behind, open the chest, pull the shoulder back and down. You could try the hand on the hip and reach down towards the outside of the knee. So keeping the shoulder away from the ear. You could take the arm up towards the ceiling. You could even take the arm over the top of your head and just turning that underneath hand up, that right hand up, would also challenge your balance. Outside hip and thigh working. as well as a little bit of hip flexor and even a little bit of buttock, but mainly the core to keep you stable. And then you can either leave the top leg exactly where it is, or you could put that top knee on the floor in front of you and focus on the bottom leg, flex the foot, hover the leg off the floor, and this time squeeze back as if you're trying to kick into the wall behind you. Still keeping that waist lifted, a little bit of a gap between the waist and the floor, and keeping your torso stable. If that's easy, then you could try taking the leg up and squeeze back. And again, challenge yourself with where you put that left hand, squeezing back, keeping the legs long, making sure you're not bending the knees. Then you would see if you could take the top one forward while the bottom one goes back, and then the bottom one goes forward while the top one goes back. Keeping the legs off the floor. Remember, you can put your hand in front, just watch the shoulder doesn't creep up around the ear. You decide where that arm can be, towards the ceiling or over your head. Try not to bend that bottom leg when you push it back. So maybe don't push it back quite so far if you found the knees bending. You want the buttock to work rather than the hamstring. Keeping the legs long, balancing. Exhale to swap and inhale to swap. And then see if you can keep those legs off the floor. Maybe put that, or definitely put the hand in front of you. Flex the feet as you breathe in. Now breathing out, lift the knees right up into the chest. Breathing in, point toes. And breathing out, push back. Now it feels like you're pushing backwards to get those buttocks to work. So you do flex as you breathe in, breathing out, knees right up into chest. Breathing in, point. Breathing out, extend. If you find that's too much, leave the bottom leg on the floor and just work with the top leg only. You could do that instead. But making sure that whichever one you're doing, you're keeping your torso as stable as you can, but also keeping the legs right up off the floor so that you're not making any swishing noises with the legs, with those thighs. Trying to keep it as quiet as you can while you do this. Go to your hip flexor and quadriceps, hamstrings, buttocks working, and of course really working the core hard, keeping that zip up and hollow to keep your torso as stable as you can. And then you can decide how many of these things you want to do, and then when you've had enough, just extend the legs out. Take the top arm over the top of your head. Take hold of that top wrist, stay balanced, give a little tug on the wrist and lengthen down the side. So you're still working those stabilizer muscles to keep your body absolutely still while you lengthen through, balancing and stretching. Hold that there. And then from there, if you just want to gently, please roll over onto your back. And take a moment to set that up. Bring the chin down over the peach. Stretch fingertips towards your toes. The length through the neck. Work your way down. Put your little grape in the small of your back. Trade marbles across the pelvis. Orange root between the knees so the shoulders, hips, knees and ankles are aligned. And then reaching up towards the ceiling. Breathing in, nod your head, leave the back of the head on the floor. Breathing out, curl up, head, shoulders off the floor. Crush grape, look underneath the orange. Hold to breathe in, and breathing out, gently, gently take it back down. So you're going to breathe in to nod, breathing out to curl, look forward, push forward on the in-breath. Hold it there, and then gently take it back down. Now remember, you can support the head with one hand, while you reach forward with the other arm, but make sure you don't twist your upper body. You can even use both hands behind the head, but keep the elbows right back so you're not pulling on the head. If you can, arms up towards the ceiling. Nodding to pick up the peach and reach forward. Press that tummy button right down into the backbone, feeling those deep abdominal muscles work. 3 fingers below the tummy button. Breathing in to nod, breathing out to curl. Push forward. Hold to breathe in. and breathing out to gently take it back down again. And maybe 2 more times. Just pushing forward, making sure you look underneath the orange, trying to get as little strain on the neck as possible, making that rectus abdominis work down the front to lift you forward rather than the weight of the head. And then gently back down again. Then letting that head roll from side to side. Ease out the tension in the neck. And then stretching the legs out. Take the arms over the top of your head. And just stretch through those tummy muscles. Lengthen through. Breathing still, of course, full and wide into the ribs while you lengthen the legs. Then bring the arms back down by your side again. Sliding your feet back in. And then this time, taking the arms up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, extend the right arm over the top of your head while the left leg extends. And breathing in to slide back. So you're just going to slide out, slide in. When you take the arm over your head, make sure that the rib cage does not flare. Keep the back on the grate, the tray of marbles balanced across the pelvis. And just slide out and slide in, making sure your back doesn't arch or the pelvis tilt and crush the grate. So keeping everything through your body absolutely still, getting flexibility to the hip, the knee, the shoulder, but really switching on those deep stabilizer muscles. And then when you've done equal numbers on both sides, carry on with that, or take a breath in, and as you breathe out, lift one knee up into tabletop, press your back into the mat, lift the other leg up into tabletop. Now see if you can now do the right arm over the top of your head while you extend the left leg out straight. And then you swap. Exhale out, inhale back. So again, you're keeping the back on the grip. Now remember, the lower you take that leg, the harder this is going to be. To keep the back on the grape. If the back starts to arch, of course, you bring the leg up higher again. You decide which level you're going for. Making sure you keep that tray marble still and the back on the grip. And then again, when you've done equal numbers on both sides, you hug the knees into the chest. Again, you can carry on and do a few more if you want to. And then just have a little rock side to side. As many repetitions as you feel comfortable with. And then hug those knees in, have a little rock side to side. And then putting the hands on tops of the knees, push them around in a circle. Release that lower back. First one way, and then take it the other way. Again, keeping that chin down over the peach, keeping the length through the neck. Release that lower back. And then putting one foot down, the other foot down. And floating the arms up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, lift one knee up into tabletop. Press back into mat. Lift the other leg up to tabletop. Breathing in, nod your head. Breathing out, curl up, reach up towards the ceiling. Hold. And then, of course, again, opposite arm and leg. Now this time, your grape is crushed. Tray of marbles still staying stable. Now again, the lower you take that leg, the harder it will be. To keep you back, press right down into the mat. Remember, you can support the head with one hand if you need to, while the other arm extends up towards the ceiling. Make sure that back stays pressed right down into the floor. And if it's too much, of course, you put your feet back onto the floor and just slide out opposite arm and leg from there with the curl up, or you could put the curl up down and just work with the legs only. And then again, when you've done equal numbers on both sides, just hug those knees into the chest, let the head and shoulders relax back down, or you can do some more. Let the head roll from side to side and just ease out that tension in the neck again. And putting One foot down, the other foot down. Stretch the legs out, take the arms over the top of your head and give yourself a full body stretch. Tips of fingers to tips of toes. Lengthen through those legs because you work your hip flexors as well as those tummy muscles. Rectus abdominis down the front. The six-pack muscle. Hold and stretch. And then from here, the best way you know how, take yourself onto your left side. Push up and just swing round. Just making sure that you can see your screen. And then take a moment again to set that up on your side, taking the arm back a little bit. Remember, you can use your cushions if you need to. Roll that top hip slightly forward, shoulders, hips, knees and ankles stack. Waist lifted. Try and get that little gap between the waist and the floor. Imagine that you've got a belt around the middle and you're pulling it into the tightest hole, pulling up and pulling in. And then you know what's coming, so you decide where you're putting your right hand this time. Hover that top leg. Then all you do is challenge your balance with that little kick forward. Exhale to kick, inhale to bring it back. Nice and smooth. Trying to keep that cup of tea still on the outside of the hip. And then maybe if you've had your hand in front, once you get it going, you could challenge it. Take the hand behind to open the chest. You could try the hand down the seam of the trouser leg, or remember up towards the ceiling, or even over the top of your head. For me, I think that's the most challenging that I can manage without losing the stability of the pelvis. Keep lengthening through that bottom leg. Make sure that bottom leg does not start to bend because it will want to help you balance. And then when you've done a few with that top leg, then you can either put that top knee in front, flex that bottom foot and lift the leg and then just do a squeeze back. Doesn't really matter now where you put your right hand because you've got the knee in front of you to help you balance, but you could of course take that top leg out and hold it steady hip height while you squeeze that bottom leg back. And again, you decide where you need to put that right hand. Watch that bottom leg does not bend. It needs to stay as straight as you can to get the buttock engaged. Nice and smooth. Keep lengthening through both of the legs. Remember, you can put the top leg on the floor in front of you. If you need to, try and hold that top leg as still as you can. And then if you can, you take the top one forward while the bottom one goes back, and then you swap. Exhale to swap, and inhale to swap. Putting the hand in front would certainly make it easier for you. Watching that bottom leg stays absolutely straight, particularly when you're kicking it back. If it's bending, then lift the bottom leg that little bit higher, engage the inner thigh a little bit more, because it just means you're catching that bottom leg on the floor. Challenging yourself with the position of that right hand. And then if you just want to bring the legs back into alignment, definitely needing the right hand in front of you, keeping the legs off the floor, your waist is working as well, upper and lower, flexing the feet and bring the knees right up into the chest, point and push away. Now you need to keep those legs right up off the floor, otherwise you'll be catching your thighs on the floor and it will take away a lot of the stability of your upper body. So you're trying to keep the legs right up off the floor, pushing back. Flex as you breathe in, breathing out, pull up right up into the chest, breathing in, point, and breathing out to push away. Try to keep your body as absolutely stable as you can. And remember, if that is too much, just leave that bottom leg on the floor and work with the top leg only. You decide how many repetitions you want to do. One leg or both legs. Remember, right up into the chest, push away. Then you've done enough, just relax back down, stay balanced, take the top arm over the top of your head, take hold of that top wrist, lengthen down the side of your body, lengthen and stretch. Get a really good stretch. Those still core muscles working. True balance. Lift the rib cage away from the hips. Hold. And then if you just roll gently over, please, onto your front. Lengthen through the legs, shoulders, hips, knees and ankles aligned. Maybe take the arms out, crucifix position, bend the elbows at a 90-degree angle. And let the forehead rest on the floor, if that's comfortable. If it's not, just turn your head to the side, let your cheek rest. And then when you lift the upper body, you turn, look at the floor. And as you go down, turn the head again. But if you can, peach underneath the chin, forehead on the floor. And exhale to lift and inhale to lower. Keep the ears pointing forward, the peach underneath the chin. Try not to press with the arms. Lift with your back as if I'm pressing down with my hand into your upper back and you're lifting up into the hand. Keeping everything below the waist still, tummy button pulled up and in. Now if that's enough for you, you can leave that there. Otherwise, if you can, take the hands behind, clasp them together, and then lift and do a bit of a reach back. Breathe in and down. Lift, reach back, breathe in and down. So again, trying to keep the plank of wood on the back of your head, the peach underneath your chin, no strain on the neck. If that's too much, you could have the arms down by your side. And then lift, do a little reach back, breathe in and down. Just reaching back. But if you can, you clasp the hands together because that will open the chest and pull the shoulder blades together, work the posture muscle across the upper back that little bit more. But you can leave the arms out on the floor if you need to. And then from there, just bring the hands underneath the forehead. Let the forehead rest on the backs of the hands. Lengthening through the legs, shoulders, hips, knees, ankles aligned. Cup of tea on the back of your pelvis. Making sure the shoulders stay down away from the ears. And then just hover the right leg. Flex the foot, bring the heel into the bottom. Extend and point and lower. So you do exhale up, inhale flex. Heel to bottom, exhale point, and inhale down. Trying to keep your pelvis as stable as you can, so you're not going to rock from side to side. Lift, flex the foot, heel to bottom, point, and down. Trying to keep the body as stable as you can while you do this. Keeping the legs in line. And if you want to, you could maybe do a lift, heel in, toes out, down, lift, squeeze, stretch, down, and then both legs, heel in, toes out, down. But if that's too much, you'd stay with the alternate singles. You can decide. So you can do single, single, just lift, heel in, point, down, lift, heel, point, down, and both together if you can. Or maybe you could do continuous doubles. Lift, heels in, point, and down. Adding in the lower back, those buttocks working, hamstrings working. Flexibility for the knees and the ankles. And then just relax, come up onto the hands and knees, and just sit back onto the heels. Let the forehead rest down if that's comfortable, with the knees open a little bit. Remember, if it is not comfortable, you can sit on your bottom, swing your legs around in front of you, either reach over the beach ball for your toes, or you could sit and hug the knees into the chest. Just release that lower back and stretch the buttocks. You decide which one works best for you. And then when you've had a good stretch, a little rest there. Scooting back out onto your front again. And of course, this time you're going to join the two together, if you can. So you can start off with the arms out, and you could lift one leg, heel comes in, toes go out and down, lift, heel in, toes out and down, or you could lift, heels in, extend and down. So you would do both together, lift, heels in, point out and down, or of course, harder version with one leg or both legs, or you could just leave the arms down by your side. So it would be clasping the hands, lift, heels in, reach back, extend the legs and down. Lift, reach back, extend the legs and down. If that's too much, you can always do one leg, just lift, reach back, point out and down, lift, reach back, point out and down. You can do upper body, reach back, release and down, and then you could do single, single, double with the legs, or you could just do the legs on their own. You decide which level you want to go for. But hardest level, lift, reach back, extend, down. Really working in to the back, hamstrings, a little bit of calf even, lift, and then when you've done enough, maybe you can always do more, come up again onto the hands and knees, and this time do your angry pussycat stretch. Arch the back, drop the head, pull the tummy button up and in, push the hips towards the head, and stretch from the back of your neck all the way down to your tail. Hold that there. Remember, you can always sit on your bottom, swing your legs round in front of you, put that big beach ball on your lap, and reach forward over your toes. Then, because you went across the upper back, crossing the arms at the wrists, maybe bring the hands closer in towards the knees and do that big arch again. Drop the head. You can always come up onto your knuckles if you need to. Make sure the head drops down. Push down through the hands. If you're sitting, hold your beach ball, wrap the arms around the ball, pull the ball in and drop the head onto the ball. And then, of course, if you're on your hands and knees, you would swap the cross over. If you had your right hand in front, put the left hand in front. Sitting, you just continue to hug the ball in, drop the head over the ball. Then when you've had a good stretch through your back, you can either, if you're sitting, hug the knees into the chest, drop the head over the knees, or continue to reach over the ball. But tuck the pelvis underneath the ball. And then if you're sinking back onto the heels, you can have the arms straight out, or you can have the arms behind you, palms up. Try not to lift the hips. Keep the hips right back onto the heels. Hold that there. Maybe open those knees a little bit, get those hips back further. Get a good stretch in the lower back and the buttocks. Holding that there. And stretch. Then just coming up into a sitting position, swing the legs round in front of you, nice straight legs. Lifting up nice and tall, pop the hands down by your thighs and slide down towards your heels. Have the peach underneath the chin, slide your shoulder blades down and lengthen through those hamstrings that you've just worked. Lower back and buttock stretching as well. Maybe take a breath in, and as you breathe out, walk those fingers a little bit further out and get a really good stretch in the lower back, the buttocks and behind the knees up into the thighs. Hold and stretch. And then sitting up nice and tall, bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees flop apart. Try and put the hands behind you. If that's not comfortable and you find your back is curving while you do this, then just get a cushion or even two cushions and sit on them until your back is up nice and straight. Maybe slide the heels a little closer in towards your body and just let the weight of your legs do the work. Stretch those inner thighs. Relax. Keep the chest open, shoulders back and down. And then stretching legs out, put the right foot over the left thigh, right, that left arm around the leg, hug it in, taking your right hand behind you, sit up tall and rotate and look over that right shoulder, hug in the leg to get a good stretch on the outside of the hip and thigh, right down into the buttock, and of course around your middle and your neck. Maybe take a breath in, and as you breathe out, twist that a little bit further, and then unknotting the leg, swap to the other side, just hug it in, sitting up tall, hand behind, and rotate your upper body. Turn the head up over the shoulder, hug that leg in nice and tight. And again, maybe take a breath in, and as you breathe out, twist a little bit further. Give it a little bit more stretch. And then unknotting the legs, either sitting with the legs straight or bent or crossed. Again, however's comfortable. Maybe getting that cushion to sit on. Sitting up nice and tall. Right hand, palm down underneath the buttock and sit upon it. Drop your left ear down into the shoulder. Use the weight of the head just to stretch the neck and over the shoulder. Hold and stretch. Then release the hand, lengthen up again. And left hand, palm down underneath the buttock, sit on it. And drop your right ear into the shoulder. Keeping that back up nice and tall, tummy pulled in and up, so back stays up straight while you stretch the neck. And then release, lengthen there. Drop the chin all the way into the chest. Slide those shoulder blades down your back, shoulders away from the ears. Lengthen through the neck. Still got that back up nice and tall. Use the weight of the head just to stretch the back of the neck now. Then lengthen up again, keep the peach underneath the chin, and turn the head. And look over that right shoulder. Try not to tilt the top of the head back, keep the chin down, just take the head as far round as you can. And then keep that chin down over the peach, turn the head, and look over that left shoulder. Getting flexibility into the neck. Then just gently drop the chin down into the chest, lifting the head, and release the shoulders forward, up and round and back and down. Get those shoulders moving again. Just ease out the shoulders. And there we are, session number 18. Thank you very much for staying with me for all of these weeks. And we'll have to go with this a little bit longer, I think, till I get a few more classes going. But also thank you for your very generous contributions, and also well done. Still working hard with me, and I hope to see you next week. Take care in the meantime. Bye for now.